So today I'm going to be replacing the muffler on the 98 Accord. As you can see, as you can hear, it's loud, and also you can see kind of all of the, you can see the hole there, all the exhaust gases coming out of that hole, and none out the tail. So it's starting to smell bad and it's getting annoying. So we're going to be replacing it today, and a little bit of DIY. So I'm just going to do a little comparison. This is what it sounds like before, and then I'll show you what it sounds, then we'll keep on going. So I got the car jacked up here. First, I'm gonna try to undo these bolts. I already tried, but they're so rusty that the first try they stripped. So I'm just gonna have to cut them off. It's really rusty, and maybe you can get a better look at the hole here. There, it's just rusted all out, and it's all black above it now from all the exhaust gas. But it's a big hole. It's time to get replaced. So yeah, first take these bolts off, and then we're gonna deal with the muffler. Also too, on these bushings up here, probably gonna want to put a little bit of penetrating oil so that they can soak through and it's easier to take off. I ended up just taking the wheel off, and I cut this bolt off, but to get to that one right there, I can't get it with the grinder, so I'm just gonna cut it right here, because I'm gonna cut it there anyways. Get this out of the way, and then we should be good. So just got the old muffler off, and as you can see, there's a huge hole, just rusted completely. Huge hole. So I'm going to be putting this on. This is why it's kind of makeshift. This is pretty sure it's a cherry bomb. Pretty sure it's just fiberglass inside. And so we'll be putting the brackets back on to this, welding it, and then also welding it to the pipe there that's connected to the flange. I'll have to take that flange off still. So we got the flange and the exhaust off, the muffler off now. I'm gonna start it up, see what it sounds like. It sounds almost the same actually. There wasn't much of a difference. But we'll still give it a few revs. Just made a stop at Canadian Tire for a second. Got this exhaust joint and crack sealer for when I rejoin the flanges together, because the gasket is kind of ruined now. But now what I'm going to do is, off the old muffler, take the two brackets off here and here, grind those off, and then I'll start to weld them onto this one, and I got to line it up with the pipe so that it fits, and then it should be just a matter of sticking these brackets onto the pulleys, the bushings. Now I'm just gonna grind the new muffler to the flange, tacked it on in two spots, on the one side first. Now we're gonna flip it over and tack this side. Just finished welding that and did not do a very good job. Haven't welded in a while. And also I found that because there was a slight gap in between the two pipes, it would make a hole really easily. So some spots are better than others, but the main point is that it's welded together, and as you can tell, this is not like a to-spec project. It's a very makeshift, do-it-yourself project. I just had this muffler kicking around and I really needed to replace the old one wherever it is. So now I'm gonna take the brackets and I'm gonna put it underneath the car, line it up first, and then weld these on to the muffler, and then it should fit on good enough to fit. What I did is I attached the flange and the muffler back onto the pipe, and then I took the bracket and lined it up and then marked it out where it's gonna sit, and I just have to get the angle right. I'm gonna double check it again, get the angle right so that it fits on as well as it can. The way it fits on right now, it is a little bit to the one side, it's a little bit to the right, so it might be hitting the plastic bumper, but if I angle this properly, it shouldn't. And then I'm just gonna go back over this again if I don't get it right the first time. But this is pretty much just very kind of makeshift, and this is not the proper way to do it. I'm just doing it because the muffler for a brand new one was too expensive for me for a stock one, and I had this kicking around, so I might as well do it. And then if anything, I can just even put a new piece of metal over top of this, I guess, and maybe do it then. But this looks pretty shot. It's pretty bad. But yeah, so hopefully it works, and I'll go get back to you once this one is welded on. And I think the other, I don't even know if I need the other one, because just the way it's placed, it's kind of an awkward. I might have to put, the other one's supposed to go on like this too, but I might have to put it like this to pull it over closer to the middle of the car, I guess. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. So I welded it on, went to fit it, and it fits nicely. I attached the bolts just enough to see if it would fit. If it's nice, I won't be able to put the other bracket on, but at least this one's on. It's still good enough. It doesn't quite hit the bumper, which is great. I might still have to do a little fiddling around to see if I can get a little bit farther from the bumper, because I don't want the bumper to melt or anything either. So yeah, this is not even supposed to be a catback muffler. I forgot about that. It's supposed to be the one where it's in the middle. It came off of the Mustang that we have, and they were placed in the middle of the exhaust, not at the back. So it's going pretty good. I'm actually surprised how well it's working, and I'm excited to get it on. And yeah, so I'm gonna put some of this exhaust joint sealer onto the flange before I actually attach it, and then so that way it'll really, you know, make a tight seal. And I'll probably put some around the joint that I made there, maybe, just in case there's a little bit left over, like a hole or something. And yeah, so it should be good, and I'll show you guys what it looks like when it's done. And then in a few hours I'll show you what it sounds like when the putty has dried. We got the pipe on, and it's hitting pretty bad right there. It's bending it quite a bit, and it's pretty pretty tough to pull down, but it's because there's a lot of strain on that one, and it's being pulled over this way. But if I push it that way, that bushing kind of centers out, which is what I want. So I'm gonna cut this back off, place it a little bit higher, and maybe more of an angle this way, so that it's not so tight here, and then it should fit better. But yeah, I got all the exhaust putty on there and the bolts back on. I used new bolts, and yeah, I'm excited to hear what it sounds like, but it's looking good. So, new plan. It's still hitting without that on. I cut it off. Still hitting. I need it to be like that, at least. That way it doesn't hit. I might have, I'm thinking I'm just gonna heat wrap the exhaust pipe right here, and then it's probably gonna rest up against the bumper. But I mean, the real problem is that weld. It's just not at the right angle. And then those are fine. Those bolts, that fits on perfect. But it's just a little bit of a wrong angle. So now what I'm gonna do is try to attach it to this bushing here, and to do that, I'm gonna weld this bracket onto this rod, and then weld the rod onto the muffler, and hope it's gonna work, but I think it's gonna be hard to weld under that muffler. So it might just have to go like that on there, and then attach it just to pull it closer that way. So we'll see how it goes. So I got the bracket welded onto the other rod, and now I grinded the plates off where I'm gonna weld it on the muffler, and grinded some off here too. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grind it like that, weld it like that, and have it so that this is being pushed down. You can see that bushing there. If I pull it down, it just stretches. I don't want it, I mean, it would be best if this was like that, but then it's hitting the guard, the heat guard. So I'm just gonna pull it down like that. That way the bushing is stretching the right way, and there won't be any touching there. So see how it goes. 5 o'clock now, and I got that welded on there. It's connected to the bushing up there, and it still is just barely touching. Like, I guess that would be best right there. So I'm still gonna put some heat wrap on it, and then see how she goes. I'm hoping it's not gonna get too hot though, the muffler at this part. It would be hotter here than it would be here, I think. So I hope the bumper's okay. And yeah, so see how it goes. Otherwise, everything's looking good. It's still drying. I'm just gonna leave the other bushing. Doesn't need it. And also I mean, if I pop it around like that, then that's perfect. Like, it's not touching, and that's perfect. It's because this bushing up here is like halfway. It's turned around, but it's hitting the heat shield over there. So it doesn't stay. Like, if I put any pressure on it, it goes like that, and then it goes back there. So if it's like that, yeah, it looks good, but it's not. If I hit a bump or something, it's not gonna stay. it'll pop back. So, I mean, that would be optimal, but that's what it's at right there. And I'm gonna see if I can just put some heat wrap on it, and that might do the trick. Otherwise, I'll show you what it sounds like in a bit. I'm excited to hear it. It's probably not gonna sound great or anything. It's a stock cord. But yeah, so I'm glad I did this, and it's gonna be, I mean, it's not gonna be like what originally happened. I'll show you. In the back here, if I open up this latch, the carpet is actually melted on from here onto it because the muffler was that's exactly where all the gas was going, the exhaust gas was going. So it melted it there, and it always gets hot there after warm rides. So this will fix that problem, and yeah, should be good. So the putty should be dry now. On the muffler, I'm gonna start her up. Check for any leaks. Well, the exhaust is coming out of there, that's good. Great sign. Just gonna feel around here. Any air coming out? Doesn't feel like it. Sounds a little deeper. I mean, you can really hear the engine noise still, but at least the air is coming out of there, not straight into the trunk. Give it a few revs. Keep it here. So it sounds a lot quieter than before. It's not a bad thing. I'm just happy that it's fixed and that there's no more heat going into the trunk. Let's see how hot that got. Yeah, so it was like that. I'm gonna try driving like that. It's not touching the bumper, and then once it pops like that, it's not hitting the bumper too bad. But yeah, I'm still gonna put some heat wrap on it. But yeah, so that's how to replace a muffler. Very sketchy way, but it works, as you can see. And especially for cheap, this cost me, all I had to buy was the putty, whatever that is. So that's all I had to buy. I had everything else kicking around. So yeah, see you guys later.